company.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was janitorial services.
Yes.
And they actually gave him a promotion and made him like a VP of product development after.
And did he develop anything new after that?
No, I don't think anything that took off is as huge as Cheetos, well, Spicy Hot Cheetos did, or Flaming Hot, whatever they're
Flaming
called.
Hot, yeah. And those are pretty popular. They're
I
really
like them. I don't even eat regular Cheetos, but I'll like mob on Flaming Hot Cheetos.
Yes.
And
all right. Well, since snacks are my thing here on the show, I'm gonna go get my snacks because last time I made harsh judgments of people because I was hungry.
Which the crowd loves.
It's important. Oh, that dress is so pretty.
Tech culture in the house. Welcome back.
Good evening, Tech Culture. Where do you stand on like your favorite snacks, Brian? What's like your go-to? I need a little something. What am I going to grab out the kitchen?
Man, that's a big question. Mm-hmm. Right now, it's probably Utz potato chips.
Okay, very classic.
Actually, a Baltimore staple, as a matter of fact.
Particularly the crab chips.
So I got. Candice, wait till she puts his headphones back on. So Candice had crab flavored Utz chips for the first time the other day.
Ooh.
Oh my God, what did you think?
Oh, I love them. Yeah.
That's
one of the best flavors.
That's a East Coast summertime staple. I mean, all year round, but like summertime staple.
It's like a simple sandwich and some crab chips, and you're good.
It makes the sandwich taste better. You have a plain sandwich with crab chips, and it's
you put in it.
Yeah.
So good. Candice, what's the chip that you were into for a bit? It was something Canadian.
Ooh, yes.
What was it?
The all-dressed Ruffles potato chips.
That's right.
All dressed. I think it's the #1 potato chip in Canada.
Is that even like? Is that statistic?
Hold on. Now I'm looking it up, but I'm pretty sure it says that on the bag.
I love my Canadian brothers and sisters, but come on now.
I feel like we should start saying we're the #1 pitch competition on Twitch. That's what we should start saying.
#1.
Yeah. All dressed, or colloquially known as dressed all over, chips are a potato chip flavor popular in Canada. The flavor combines the potato chip flavors of barbecue, ketchup, sour cream and onion, and salt and vinegar, all in one chip.
Why would you want that?
It's delicious.
I didn't think I even tried it. I thought I was going to order some online and I ended up not doing it. But I like salt and vinegar.
Do you like ketchup? Do you like barbecue? Do you like salt and vinegar?
Ketchup
together.
Yeah.
Delicious. Delicious. Yeah, and since we all probably need to move to Canada, get used to the Canadian things.
Yeah, let's not talk about politics. Let's not. It's
okay.
He's like, I'll just move and eat my chips. Oh, okay. AK-724. I was going to say AK-47.
Don't. Yeah, again. She's like, these kind of snacks are just Annie's. It's, for the kids' lunch boxes that we didn't have a lunch for.
We're out here selling publicly traded stocks right here, just from.
Nice.
Could you imagine if we were on the inside and we just help boost stocks of famous brands by talking about them on the show?
You'd be going through that Martha Stewart prison sentence.
No, I wouldn't.
Speaking of Canada.
I love Martha Stewart. And she's gotten better over time,
Oh, yeah. She's my favorite ex-con for sure.
I feel like my age range, I feel like I've just missed her. Like, I don't really know anything about her other than she had a food show. Is that how she became famous?
Oh, yeah. It wasn't just food. No, it was lifestyle.
Ooh, like tablescapes and decor.
Yes. Gardening, how to decorate your pumpkin and set up your front porch during the fall, and growing zucchini, and how to fold napkins. I guess it was a little bit more of a, domestic time of life.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I love how there's an entire conversation.
There's a whole lot happening over here.
Comment section right now.
I know, I got lost. I got lost over here. I just tried to buy Sega stock. Can you do that? Is that thing still?
I don't know. I mean, if you want that kind of thing, you should look at Niantic. This is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor.
Just play one on TV.
But Niantic's releasing some really cool 4D. Actually, Hunal and Moody might be able to talk more about it than I can. But some 4D and XR elements to the Pokemon Go platform fairly soon.
Oh, cool.
That I
haven't played that in a while. Probably should be doing that right now during COVID, though, couldn't you? Because you're not really around people when you're playing it.
Yeah, and still get a nice little walk, get some exercise.
Not a bad idea. I love that money laundering is the topic in the chat.
We've got some sophisticated viewers.
Taking a turn. I'm excited about this being the last episode of the round.
Me too. We've seen some great companies. We're going to see 2 more great companies today. Let's see, Kunal's giving us some great tips about. Actually, when you guys come on for the Q&A, we can talk about Pokemon Go.
I love it.
Lexi, I feel like you were about to do a really fire intro. Do you want to just do the intro today?
Sure. All right, guys. So welcome back to everyone's favorite pitch competition on Twitch. We're live every Tuesday and Thursday, normally at 7 Eastern, but today it's special edition at 8 Eastern. For this competition, we have 12 companies competing for a grand prize of $5,000 and some other fun cash prizes along the way, in addition to $100,000 worth of Amazon Web Service credits and some other fun things from PitchBook. The show is sponsored by PitchBook and AWS. We're very grateful and thankful for all the work they do with our team and helping put this together. And let's get started. So every episode, we have 3 judges, plus you, the audience. You also get to judge each pitch. After each presentation, you'll see a cute little box pop up with a Twitter link for you to vote for if you would invest in the company yourselves. That's really it. So introducing the team, I'm Lexi. I'm the associate of the fund, and I help pick companies for this competition. And we'll let these other 2 flip screen introduce themselves.
I'm Candice. She is fire.
Why am I doing this? You should be doing this every week. What are we talking about?
Well, let's Wodair fam. We've hired a host.
It was
Wodair.
I wasted a lot of weeks.
But she's doing a great job. I loved you doing it because I love you. But I would say that was fire.
That was way better. That was way better.
Yeah, way. Yeah, she's the hostess with the mostest.
You guys know I'm a secret theater kid.
Oh, duh!
Why would we?
I think about this chemistry skill set all the time,
theater.
I started with presentation in theater.
Okay. I'm Candice Matthews-Reckine. I am one of the founders of Hillman Accelerator and a general partner at Lightship Capital.
Brian Breckine. I wear merch. I love merch. Also general partner at Lightship Capital. Former host of this show, fired recently by Lexi's talentedness. We invest in women and underrepresented founders in the Midwest and beyond.
Cool. Who do we have today?
We do have a really exciting host that will be coming on next week, and we're really excited for you all to meet her. Show her lots of love when she gets here. She's fantastic. And so today, for our first pitch, we will see the team from Brand XR, and we can roll the clip.
Damn, she's good.
Gosh.
Oh, God.
Hi, my name is Kunal Patel, co-founder and CTO of Brand XR. Our Brand XR studio is a SaaS-based, no-code platform that allows anyone to create augmented reality, virtual reality, and mixed reality apps with no prior experience or training required. So basically, if Squarespace and Canva had a baby that could make XR experiences, that would be the Brand XR studio. So we know how powerful no-code solutions can be, and that inspired us to build the Brand XR studio. So before we get going, to give some background on the team, I obviously focus on the tech, but I've also always been the least socially awkward engineer. And so I've always found my way into leadership positions over the past 15 years, being a lead software architect and growing engineering teams. And I also love giving back. So I also co-founded the largest game dev community in the Southeast called Indienomicon, where we had monthly meetups and even hackathons for the space industry. Before Brand XR, I successfully scaled a fintech startup you may have heard of called Fat Merchant, from 0 to 5,000 customers and 0 to 85 employees and $20 million raised as Director of Innovation. My co-founder and CEO, Moody Matan, he focuses on the business, sales, and marketing. And before Brand XR, he built a VR headset startup inside of a larger manufacturing company and worked in venture capital, where one of his first deals was investing in an augmented reality headset company called Meta. He's a Babson MBA grad, and he's worked internationally. So we're a fairly formidable team, and I believe we're one of the best positioned to tackle this problem. Now, this opportunity is a huge one. We're on the verge of a major platform shift in how the world communicates. This is not the first time that we've been here. The next wave is immersive XR experiences. The writing's on the wall. All 5 of the top tech companies in the world have gone on record in saying they're building XR platforms that will desperately need content. We've done top-down analysis, and we found that there is a $2.67 billion annual market for a tool like ours that could help businesses sell, market, train, entertain immersively, which is what their customers will come to expect. And this market is only going to get larger when Apple, Facebook, Google release their XR glasses. The big boys in enterprise side have gotten a head start. They have the pocketbooks to move fast on this kind of tech, and it's proven a difference in their bottom line with larger cart sizes, more conversions over other methods, and a lower rate of return. We build XR experiences from scratch, and we know how hard it is. The average experience takes a team of 5 developers over 100 days and over $100,000, pricing it outside of the budget of most companies. And businesses will need to adopt this XR tech to keep up with their customer expectations. So how are they going to do it? Well, Brand XR is going to offer a monthly subscription fee. It's going to help them save time and money in creating a fantastic XR experience. We're going to have pricing tiers that range from $99 to $1,000, and we're going to give them the ability to create, publish, and measure. We've seen validation of this problem being real, with competitive SaaS-based tools trying to make 3D AR easier for companies. Our 4 main competitors have all raised between $3 and $5 million. Torch in Oregon, Minsar in Paris, Platter in Australia, and Becker in Europe. Brand XR is better positioned to scale faster than any other company, hands down. We've built a huge advantage in a more experienced, diversely skilled engineering team coming from game development and an established, vetted, curated community. So we have access to the best XR talent in the world. Orlando is the #1 city in the world for modeling, simulation, training, and game development education. Our product has a focus on being super user-friendly and easy to use, with a level of empathy far higher than what we're seeing in competitors. We know it can't be an overly technical tool like we've seen with some of our competitors, and we know if the software is easy to use, we can have unlimited users. We gain this product and solution knowledge having one real business on our pro services team, which has handled custom projects, R&D, and 3D asset creation. And it's made real revenue doing real work on enterprise projects and getting close to the pain points of development with those users. So we understand what needs to be made and how to sell it in our scalable solution. And in terms of traction, within the past 6 months, we've gotten 800 users on our wait list. We've had 100 within our private beta and 4 within a paid private beta. And our Brand XR studio currently has $30,000 ARR. In addition to this, we have about $150,000 in non-recurring revenue from our pro services team that builds custom XR experiences. Our next big milestone is to expand our paid beta at the start of June and start increasing monetization of the platform, while still adding and testing new features and refining the user experience. In Q4 2020, we plan to raise $2 million to scale the company, making key hires and adding key new features to open up new segments. We're excited to connect and network with all of you. Now we're happy to open it up for questions.
With that, here's a team for Brand XR. Man, if it's you guys won just on moving the circle around.
The bubble.
It was already it. It was already over. It didn't matter what you were gonna say.
Yeah, you like
that's all video editing skills.
I like when you put
my
it.
untrained video skills.
It was really impressive when you put it right where the circle would be for your regular slide.
Yeah.
I thought it was a missed opportunity if I didn't do it. So
cool. Well, Lexi's hosting today, so why don't you go first, Lexi?
I'm not. Hey guys, nice to finally see your faces in quasi real life. Could you tell me a little bit more about the pricing structure and kind of at what tier are different makes the perfect customer for that different tier pricing?
Moody, you want to take this?
Yeah, sure. Sure. So just to be clear, we're going to be launching this product fully next month, and kind of rolling out the SaaS product. We've been doing kind of enterprise projects for for the life of the company until now. So we're kind of going to be switching over to this SaaS-based platform coming next month. So the very first version is going to launch with a $9.99 a month tier, so $1,000 a month, and we're mostly targeting large enterprises and large agencies, so large marketing agencies that have done these big experiential marketing campaigns with AR and VR. So those are the two client segments we're mostly focused on. And then eventually we're going to add segments for the small and medium businesses, and also eventually individual users. But right now we're kind of seeing the most activity from larger organizations.
So yeah, over time there'll be a $99 plan for some of the smaller folks, just as we add more and more features.
Tell me a little bit about the beta, what you're learning from it, and the type of company that's in the beta right now.
Sure. So like for the beta, we've been gathering basically users on the wait list, and we got up to about 850, I want to say. It might even be a little bit more than that. And then we went there and basically kind of like cherry picked from like who made most sense to get into the product like very early. So we picked about 150 to approach. And then from there, 50 or so actually went in, started using it, giving some feedback. We did about 30 interviews or so. Moody went through all of them and painstakingly, lost his voice, I think. But like did all that. And then ultimately, I think we have about like 2 or 3 that are paying. And a lot of the feedback that came in was just general user interface related issues, like, hey, I wish this button was over here, or I wish this was here, or is this thing going to be a thing? Are you going to offer this kind of feature, like say 360 images or video, or are you going to provide hotspots? Just asking for things in the roadmap that make sense for their use cases. So that just kind of validated some things or reprioritized things in our roadmap. And we had a variety of companies. Some were marketing agencies, some were universities that needed to use this in an educational use case. And then, Moody, is there anybody else that comes to mind? Those are the 2 biggest ones.
Yeah, like larger enterprises, I would say also were in there, and like a lot of innovation directors, people that are tasked with bringing new technologies into these large organizations, and trying to figure out kind of how to use them. So we've been pulled into a lot of projects like that, and really have been identifying use cases kind of all along the life of Brand XR. And what we're excited about is to kind of like give people the tools to build some of these experiences, and then even eventually create templates for these experiences, very similar to Canva, how Canva makes, like someone like me look like an amazing graphic designer, which I'm not. And, like that's kind of what we want to do, give people the tools to build these AR experiences really easily, kind of go from 0 to having AR experiences, in like a matter of days. So yeah, we're excited to launch this thing in June.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the tool space. I think that, time and time again, you see the people that make the tools, as opposed to in this case, the experience, are the ones that could really make the biggest outcome. You make money on everyone's success, right? You should empower them to be successful, which is one, it's like a positive thing in life. but two, a great, just very scalable business. I also like the fact that you guys started doing it yourselves by building them custom, right? Seeing what your pain points were, and then taking those pain points into the product. And so what I'm guessing and what I'm feeling is now it's getting to the point where it's time to kind of like step over on the other side of the line, right? Where it's time to kind of really start going. And of course, these SaaS products, it's when they really get going, it's wildly profitable. But usually you raise capital in the beginning, it's capital intense. You've got to slowly kind of, every feature got to work from almost day one, right? At least most of them. And then it kind of slowly ramps up with more and more customers. So with all that said, which are things you guys already know, but really for the audience, the question is, when you think about the actual people, the actual humans on your team, at some point, let's say a year ago, whatever, they're spending 100% of their time, maybe say, on the builds, right? And just say, oh, this would be a good feature for the future. Maybe one person peeled off, or each person kind of took some code and put it over there, right? And now slowly it sounds like they're starting to work a lot on platform.
Right.
What does that mix look like now? And then how are you going to be able to successfully make the leap without kind of leaving the old customers without your support?
Right.
Yeah, Kunal, you want to go ahead?
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I was going to steal that away from you. But I was going to say, we were doing a lot of enterprise related projects, but we always had two teams, like one that was working on the scalable side and then one that was working on the enterprise side. But because we're in close proximity to each other, it's like all the knowledge that you gain in building something from scratch, the long, painful process of having so many developers, so much money, so much time. We take all that knowledge and we bring that into the scalable side. So even though it takes longer to build something that's going to scale, we at least have the knowledge that, this is what worked, this is what didn't, this is what the customer said they wanted, this is what they don't want. And so I think we have a really good perspective in knowing what actually works, what will actually win a deal, what people will pay for, and then what could be templatized. When you do a lot of projects, you realize, oh, wow, these 5 things are the same always. So we should templatize that. And so the scalable team just gets a lot of that knowledge. And then basically it's the team that does the enterprise projects will slowly become smaller. And then this team that's going to do the scalable side will become larger. But that way we'll always be able to keep focus and not kind of divert focus.
So as people are putting in their questions, I actually have another follow-up, which is Orlando. I don't think people realize the kind of talent that's coming out like UCF and the amount of work that in this space is being done with government agencies and things of that nature. Could you talk a little bit about kind of the talent level in that Orlando area, why you chose there, why you're staying, all those things?
Yeah. So, I mean, Moody could probably even pop into this too. We both actually grew up in Detroit. And so Detroit's my hometown.
The D?
Yeah, the D. And so,
I'm from Toledo, so I'm just 40 minutes away, or I was 40 minutes away.
You're close.
Yeah. Drove through it to get to Cedar Point in Ohio. So
that's exactly right.
So we actually met in California. I'm living in Orlando, which secretly is this video game farm system for the entire industry. Nobody knows that. They only know it. They mainly know it for Disney and Universal, but it's also 45 minutes away from NASA. There's it's the number 1 city for simulation and training and modeling in the world. There's 800 simulation companies here. EA Sports is here, so Madden football is made here. So basically, it's this farm system where all of this 3D talent is there, but you would never really know it. But we totally take advantage of the fact that there's 500,000 students within 30 minutes of here. And so because we have the network, we kind of see all of the 3D talent that's being pumped out. Moody, and plus because of Disney, there's 5 daily flights to Detroit for $100. So basically I could fly up there, Moody can fly down anytime. So it's kind of nice that way.
I love it. Love it. Yeah, I don't think people realize what's going on there. So good.
It looks like the audience is intimidated by this company.
I don't know why. I mean, like we're
You know, also, I'd say here's another thing. You guys have kind of been there and done that. You are extremely confident. You know what could go wrong, and you've already dealt with that situation. And we'll talk behind your backs once we're done here. But like,
expected.
you know, to your face, I can honestly say, like, you will be successful, right? With what you're doing. I guess that's all I could really say. Who do you exit to, though? Tell me that.
I think that's the exciting part, is that there's so many different industries that XR is touching that it could go many different ways. You know, like all of the big, you know, tech companies like Microsoft and Facebook and Amazon, Apple, they all have a XR play in one way or the other. But I think the big thing is, like, no matter what, you're going to need content for that industry. Right now, it's just way too freaking hard to create content. You know, like me, I can't code. You know, like I'm not that smart. So I've used stuff like Shopify and like Squarespace. I'm a huge fan of Shopify. Like, I've owned the stock since it was $30, and I'm like been riding the wave ever since. So I'm a big fan of these kind of no code solutions, and kind of like know how powerful they can be. And so, you know, have always wanted to build something like this, but for this industry. So, and I've had creative ideas about the XR space, but never, you know, had the ability to build those experiences. And so, if you can like give people those video game developer superpowers, these like XR superpowers, you know, we call them, we think people can do some really cool stuff. And so, yeah, I think like we're excited to like kind of build, you know, show our baby to the world. Like, we've been building this like baby. I just got a puppy, so I'm like talking about babies all the time now. I'll just have a real baby, so like that's you know, even something even more. But yeah, we're excited to like show this thing to the world, and you know, see what people are going to build on it, and yeah.
Yeah, somebody down in the comments said that's why I have no questions. This is a no-brainer to me, and it does totally make sense. Brian and I saw a company today called Trust and Will, and they help build family trusts and wills. Why has there not been that yet, right? Just like why hasn't there been your company yet? So sometimes you just run into no-brainers. So would you invest in Brand XR? You can vote on Twitter. Here is the link. Anybody else have any other questions?
No, I'm just excited, and I'll just say, kind of in closing here, this is exactly what this show is all about. Like, you look at what a Detroit Orlando kind of coming together connection can do, right? And how it's best in class. It has nothing to do with being in San Fran, New York, right? It can be Detroit, Orlando, and it can be the best in the world, right? So people need to spend more time and more money in these cities, and they'll be rewarded with companies like these. So,
Awesome.
thanks, you guys.
Thanks,
Thanks
guys.
for your time.
Thanks.
Thank you.
So,
It was great.
You're gone now. What are we going to say, even though they're still listening?
I don't know. It's just there are some founders who have it, right? And when you have your own playbook, when you've done it before, you've failed and you've won, or you've won and won and won, like, you use that skill set to build the next thing. And you don't waste anybody's money or give away your equity before you figure out if you want to do it a certain way. And I think they've figured all those things out. I don't know. I can't say it's a hard one. Like, it's a good company. And they'll exit, you know? My only concern is that they may do too much enterprise and customization, and it doesn't allow them to grow. But it sounds like you asked the question already, like, how will they account for that? And they'll just make sure that one side stays relatively small while they scale the other up. And that was my really, only big concern. The market is there. Yeah.
Just from a technical perspective, starting with 2 different teams is something that only a second-time founder would do. A first-time founder would make the mistake of putting everybody in the same bucket from the door because they had limited resources, and then not have enough focus on that future SaaS product. And then when investors like us show up, we would say, you guys have a consulting business.
Exactly. That was my concern.
Right? We would see it like that, and that would be that. Instead, these guys have like really separated and just made it to kind of 2 discrete groups. And you can see they're focusing their attention in the right place. Other than what they're doing, this one is like super clear. It's not easy at all. And it's hard enough to create experiences one at a time bespoke, but it's extremely hard to build platform companies. Having built a platform company, there's just so many things you have to account for. But having said that, they seem like the right 2 people to do that. And this is a case of betting on the jockey as much as betting on the horse. You love the industry. The task is extremely hard, so you almost get skeptical, but then you meet the jockey, right? And then it's like, oh, yeah, you guys are gonna do it.
I'd be interested, and I guess we didn't ask this, and we can maybe ask it if they make it to the next round, is, they said it's a $2.7 billion market opportunity. They showed a list of 3 or 4 competitors in the space. Like, how much do they think they can capture of that? And how far ahead are those others? I didn't quite see where they were in market. I saw how much they raised, but I didn't see how far they had gotten as far as like maybe projected users. So, if they're not first to market, what's that other advantage they have to be able to capture enough of the market?
Yeah. Lexi?
I agree with everything you guys are saying. You guys know I get really bullish about founders who know what they're doing. And I mean, I don't know if anyone's ever seen or read anything about Fat Merchant, but that alone would make me put money in the company, even though this is not my industry and I know nothing about XR, AR, or VR whatsoever. I firmly believe these guys can continue to build it and be successful at it because they've done it before.
Yeah, I would, if we were investing in this company, I would spend some time with them looking at how we can use AI to solve some of the 3-dimensional kind of issues. Like, how can AI help to do some of the coding for you, right? And kind of create some of these environments that people can then code in. But yeah, all the things that should be done seem to be already done. And I'll say for the crowd, we've had a number of conversations internally about like, could we go harder on the show? Could we ask tougher questions? Could we, like, if it's trash, should we say it's trash? There's like, this is a good company.
The whole plan was to make sure that we were still like tough tonight, but you get in here and you're like, you fall in love a little bit.
Yeah.
With something like that.
It's tough. So, all right. Great. So with that, any other things before we move on to the next one?
No, I think we're ready.
All right. So let's do the next pitch for College Thrifts.
It's
yeah,
our first ever technical difficulty.
The voice of God is back there freaking out right now.
It's okay though, because he's just crushed it to date.
Well, we can take this second just to say we're really excited to see people who are younger, really excited about entrepreneurship. You guys don't know this, but this following contestant is still a college student, which I think is really exciting, that she can find the time to work to build a company while she's still in school. And we love to see young entrepreneurs here locally at universities and all over the country. But I think it's really exciting to see someone still in school getting into this.
That's fun. Oh, Sugar Gamers.
Oh, Sugar Gamers. Thanks for coming. Here we go.
College Thrifts, creating a more inclusive and sustainable college culture. Hi, my name is Patricia Garcia, and I'm a third-year college student. Throughout my time at the undergraduate level, I've had the opportunity to experience distinct college campuses and cultures across the United States. From working on projects at the University of California, Berkeley, MIT, and the University of Miami to participating in hackathons at Harvard, Stanford, and the University of Southern California. Throughout my time at these distinct universities, I've noticed there is one thing that these institutions of higher education all have in common: high-priced college apparel. Walk into any bookstore, no matter where in the nation, and you'll be sure to spot the $60 crew neck besides the $50 sweatpants and the $35 tee. It's the 21st century, but the university system continues to subtly discriminate against low-income students. Students are being deterred from purchasing college-branded apparel due to their high costs. Universities are excluding low-income students like myself who cannot afford to purchase this merchandise while catering to those who can. Students want a platform that allows them to easily purchase gently used college apparel at a fraction of the college bookstore prices. And that's why I founded College Thrifts, with a big vision to revolutionize the way we purchase college apparel. College Thrifts is an inclusive peer-to-peer marketplace for students and alumni to buy and sell their gently used college apparel. In addition to creating more unified, inclusive, and school-spirited college campuses, College Thrifts is also supporting more sustainable campus environments. According to Business Insider and United Nations data, the clothing industry produces more carbon emission than international flights and maritime shipping, a notable carbon footprint and clear contributor to climate change. Through College Thrifts, users are able to reduce their carbon footprint by upcycling their gently used college gear. We surveyed over 1,000 students across the nation at distinct universities, which included Hispanic serving institutions, historically black colleges and universities, and predominantly white institutions. Here's what students had to say. 98% of students said that wearing college-branded gear would positively enhance their school spirit, and 85% of students said that the apparel at their university bookstore was unaffordable. On our two-sided platform, our customers would consist of high school seniors, college students, and college alumni. In order to generate revenue, we would take 15% of every transaction and slowly introduce additional revenue streams, including corporate partnerships. We hope to partner with organizations geared towards getting students into college and retaining them. According to a study done by ThreadUp, the $24 billion resale market is projected to jump to $51 billion by 2023. That would mean that the resale market could command as much as 10% of the retail industry's sales. Here are some of the other reselling platforms currently on the market. Similar to College Thrifts, most of these mobile applications provide a platform for the reselling of goods. However, these applications are not tailored to the needs of college students. As per the customer value proposition, students would be able to filter by college or university, swap different university items, receive notifications when selected university items are posted, and receive notifications about weekly discounts depending on the school of the week. I have been conducting A/B testing on Instagram and have sold over 150 pieces. Students want this, and it's time to take this to the next level. The next phase of this idea would allow us to reach an even wider audience by allowing others to post their items and ultimately provide individuals the opportunity of purchasing college gear that they otherwise may not be able to afford. In order to create a minimum viable product, we are looking at raising about $22,000. Here are what some students are saying about College Thrifts. An incoming freshman at the University of Maine says, "Throughout high school, I've gotten so much college apparel, but at the end, I'd rather be able to resell all the different pieces and get more of my specific college. Literally love the idea." Together, we can foster inclusivity, spark sustainable consumption behavior, and make college campuses a better place. Thank you. I am Patricia Garcia, and I'm currently an undergraduate student at Florida International University in Miami, Florida, pursuing a degree in interdisciplinary engineering.
All right, let's bring on Patricia, the team in College Thrifts. 305 FIU.
Patricia.
Hello.
Love it.
Hi.
can I just start with, I love how far down the road you are, right? Like selling it on IG, like A/B testing, where design thinking, even like where are some of these these concepts coming from?
Sure. So I think that having been at all these various institutions and seeing this need that has been present, I guess, for students across the nation, I realized with my engineering background, our school just launched this brand new interdisciplinary engineering program where it is including more of that design thinking. I was on a mechanical engineering track, and this semester, since they launched this new program, it's focusing more on a business entrepreneurship side and design thinking. And I felt that that's where a lot of engineering is headed. So being able to incorporate that into my studies and maybe take that information and form it into a company where it would benefit students across the United States, I would say that's where a lot of this inspiration and design thinking is coming in.
Love it. And just like the conversation we had earlier about Orlando, I don't think people realize the size of FIU, how many students. Guy named Robert Hacker doing some really good work down there, right? I've spoken there a bunch of times. So maybe just tell folks a little bit about why FIU is leading in this space.
So FIU is the fourth largest institution in the United States, and it is the number one institution, for example, that is awarding degrees to Hispanic students. So given the population at FIU and the demographics of the students who go to FIU, I found myself being one of those students, for example, who would go into the university bookstore. I'd see the $60 for that sweatshirt and kind of be a little disappointed that I couldn't afford that. And I would say that my story is something that resonates with a lot of students, not only at FIU, but students across the United States. So that story, I think the story of FIU and it being in Miami and the diversity of students who are coming from all over, it's in Florida International University, is representative of students just not only in Miami and FIU, but students all over.
Love it. Candice?
Yeah, I love that you've turned a social justice issue into a real business. It comes from a place of, wanting to make sure that everyone has an equal opportunity, but you're doing it in a way that just makes sense, maybe potentially for venture capital. Tell me a little bit about, sometimes people build companies, they only see their local area, and they build something, and it's just a solution for there. And maybe this company is happening at the University of Michigan or University of Cincinnati.
Yep.
What's the competition in this space?
Sure.
It's not a ThredUp. Is there anything that's college specific or sports specific?
Yeah, great point. So on Instagram, as I was launching the prototype and seeing if there was a need for that, there is a lot of individuals on Instagram who are selling college gear. However, a lot of people who are doing this currently, it's not through a sustainable model. People are, for example, you get a white tee and you slap on the school logo on it, but that just continues promoting more waste. When you could just, at least the model I'm thinking of is, for example, when I've been this past summer at UC Berkeley, I thought, okay, I go to FIU. I really don't want to spend the $60 on that UC Berkeley hoodie if I don't go to UC Berkeley. I would much rather buy a $25 hoodie on a platform from a student who went to Berkeley, so I'll be able to sport it during my summer there and then maybe use it a couple times after, or just to have that piece of that clothing that shows, oh, I was at UC Berkeley this summer, I was at MIT this summer, but when I go back on my campus, I can wear this. And also you bring up a good point that this is not something that is just locally at FIU. So since that pitch deck, I decided, okay, let me see if there's a need for this outside. So right now I have the followers. The Instagram has about 3,000 followers. And I was like, let me see if students are interested in selling their items, because I knew there was a need for students who wanted to buy this, but I didn't know if there was a need for students who wanted to sell it. So right now I've been having an influx of DMs on the Instagram where I've had my sister come on and help me. I'm like, can you respond to these DMs? It's getting too much. So people have been asking to post their items on the platform, on the Instagram, and I'm taking 20% of each of the selling price. And then they're responsible for shipping it and doing all of that. So right now I've been University of Michigan, Syracuse University, NYU. So it's gone far beyond just Miami at the moment. So there's followers on the page from all over the United States. But the problem I have right now is that it's not a platform where I can filter and see, okay, if someone submitted an item from the University of Miami 10 weeks ago, they wouldn't be able to filter through it on Instagram. So there's a need for a platform that will allow, okay, let me click University of Miami and see what gear is available. And now that I've identified that there's also a need for people who want to sell, I think it's validating the fact that, okay, people want to sell and people want to buy.
Lexi.
As you attack the alumni market, how do you think that their needs and desires might be different than the current students who are in school versus high school students? Like, I know I went to a ridiculously expensive university where there's vintage apparel that's like $400 for a shirt, where I would love to wear that shirt, but I'm not going to pay for that. Are you thinking of maybe addressing that market a little differently and their wants and needs as you're growing up?
As I've been conducting some interviews recently, I've also found that a lot of alumni, for example, have been stating that the gear that they have during their time in college means something to them and they don't want to get rid of it. So as I've looked back at the customer segments, I've also realized maybe alumni may be interested in selling their items. However, I did notice that those incoming freshmen are also looking. I think back to my time, we had college road trips where you go visit all the schools, and usually people purchase a t-shirt or a sweatshirt from these schools and then end up not going there. And they end up not wearing it. So a lot of the information that I've been able to get is people would much rather sell that gear from the schools that they didn't go, or an incoming freshman at that school would just purchase it, and then they could have more money to buy gear for the school that they're going to. So that customer segment with the alumni is something where I've noticed a lot of them just want to keep that gear because it means something to them, at least one or two, and they'd maybe be able to sell the 3 or 4 other pieces that they have. But most of it, which was something I didn't think was going to happen, where freshmen would want to get rid of the gear. So I guess right now alumni are showing that they want to keep more of their gear than I originally thought.
Actually, there's an opportunity there. And I'm going to highlight one of the comments, and Marlon can highlight it here from Jay Brath, that says, my wife and I sell the same college gear from 25 years ago. We are not giving it up. So where are you getting this gear from? I'd like to answer that. But I'll first say, in that, there also could be an opportunity, right? A gear from 2005, 2006, 1980, whatever, could have a high value, right? And your 20% could go really far. Mm-hmm. So then almost a bidding opportunity, right? So maybe, he doesn't want to give it up at this price, right? But maybe if somebody has $1,000 for that sweatshirt because they're rich and they want their uncle to have it, maybe it's $2,000. Like, there is a number possibly, if not for him, for other people. So how do you think about the alumni and kind of higher price opportunities as time goes on?
Yeah. So you bring up a great point with the vintage gear. And for example, I have seen a lot of Instagrams as I've been going through where at least the students who would be purchasing the gear wouldn't have that money easily available, since the problem right now is that they can't afford the college bookstore prices. But should maybe someone who has that money be interested in purchasing those items, and they do have $800 to purchase that vintage University of Florida gear, go ahead and post. I feel like there's the marketplace would be tailored, or it served the purpose for you to purchase and sell. So if that opportunity were to arise and someone has that vintage gear, and it'd be more likely to sell quicker on this platform than maybe a Poshmark, Mercury, which has been actually something that people have been reaching out to me. It's like I've had this item posted on this site and this site for so long, but once I reached out to you, this item sold in a day or in a couple of hours. So it's that market that's how it's different. It differentiates itself from the other applications. It's more of a niche market where it's just focused on the college gear, which right now I think, and usually in the fall when game days come around and National College Signing Day, which was something that has recently become a huge thing. I remember during my time in high school being able to wear that gear, or maybe even so someone wants to wear that vintage gear, and maybe they go to a more affluent school and they have those $800 to spend and they want to show, I just have this vintage UF gear. And that's how I see it, taking it that stance as well, where if you want to sell that, you're more than welcome to sell as well.
Excellent. So Patricia, every time on the show, we have our executive producer, Marlon, come on. We also call him the voice of God to read some of the questions. We've got some good ones here. So, Marlon, if you would join us and bless us with your voice.
For sure. Appreciate it. So our first question is from JB Rath. He says, where are you sourcing your college gear from? More alumni or others?
Yeah, so most of it has been from others. As I said previously, when I realized that these college or incoming freshmen have this gear that they purchased throughout their time in high school or at these college visits, it's allowing for more gear to come in from schools that, for example, I wouldn't have thought of before. I'm having people from Florida send me messages with gear from NYU or Columbia. It's like, oh, I visited this school, I didn't get accepted, and now I have this gear. And some like, oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. But I'm thinking about it in this way too. It's the fact that a lot of people have that pride of going into higher education, pursuing higher education. So at least just having that sweatshirt, being able to say, oh, I visited this school, didn't get in, but I'm going to another institution, having that gear is where a lot of the items are coming from. So most of them have been from high school seniors who want to get rid of that gear from the institutions they're not attending.
Awesome. Our next question says, talk about your buyer protection program and how do you plan on scaling?
Yeah. So in regards to buyer protection, I think I'm looking at more of the Poshmark model where you kind of list the sweatshirt. For example, I'm wearing my FIU sweatshirt right now. I list it as gently used or pretty good condition. If it gets to the individual, for example, and it's not gently used and it is, just not gently used, you have the opportunity to snap a photo. Okay, this wasn't shown in the photos, and then you go ahead and process the refunds. In regards to scaling it, so right now I'm looking beyond also the college apparel as well. So for example, Greek life is a popular industry. I know there is a whole lot of copyright and liability that comes along with that. So that's something I have to look a little bit further into. But in my personal experience, I'm not in Greek life, but I remember I had this Greek life shirt. I don't know how I have it. And I have my own personal Instagram closet. And I posted that item on my personal Instagram closet. And within an hour that someone already wanted it. So it doesn't, the Greek life apparel, for example, it wouldn't have specific school name. It'd just be this sorority, this fraternity. And it'd possibly go beyond the college apparel or the school apparel, such that it encompasses more of that college experience and not just college apparel and whatnot.
Awesome. The next question is referring to COVID-19. So what about the threat of being remote? With no sports games this year, what is the expectation for demand? Yeah.
So that was actually something that I had been considering a lot as well. So when I think of the college experience and the college, just being in college, a lot of it, at least going to FIU, goes beyond the no sports. Or I wouldn't say, for example, that my institution is big on sports, whereas maybe USC or these other schools are big on sports. However, in the interview and the feedback I've gotten, it goes far beyond it being a sports school or not. It ties in more to being proud of the institution that you go to and the fact that you are pursuing a higher education and that you're doing something to better yourself. So, for example, looking now at the college signing day, I had an influx of DMs, for example, of students wanting to buy gear because I think it was Michelle Obama signed in the national signing day where on May 1st, you wear the gear of the school that you're going to. And every student wants that opportunity to be able to sport that gear. So I wouldn't say that with the no sports or given the whole COVID-19 situation, it might have a slight effect, but I still believe that students will want to rep this gear, even should the fall semester go remote and the future plans of colleges reopening is still unclear. It's more about that I'm proud that I go to this school and I just want to have that piece of clothing that shows that.
Well, I just want to say, if you guys are interested in this company and you want to vote for it, we're going to put the Twitter poll. There you go. If you would invest in College Thrift, please vote with that link over on the tweets. And once again, great job. I love the amount of design thinking, the amount of thought. Your answers were amazing.
Thank you.
The crowd seems to love it as well. Thanks for spending your evening with us tonight.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, now we're going to talk about you. Oh, she's darling. What do you guys think?
I believe the children are the future.
Well,
I mean, oh wow, Patricia is a bright one. If no one's doing this already, I mean, I haven't obviously gotten the chance to like research this, but I feel like it's a darn good idea, right? I'm a ThredUp girl. I love to buy things on ThredUp, and you know, if there's a place where I can get maybe professional sports gear, college gear, like I just go to the University of Cincinnati football games in the fall, and from one year to the next, I might be 10 or 15 pounds different, and the stuff that I have doesn't fit, and I don't want to spend $75 to $100 on something I'm going to wear once or twice a season. So it totally makes sense to me to be able to buy it on a site like that. Yeah, I like the idea.
yeah. Lexi, how do you feel about it?
I think it's a great idea too. I think Patricia is the kind of person I would love to hear about her second venture. So what is she going to do after this, right after she's graduated college, probably had her first or second job, and the bug sparks back in her to be an entrepreneur again. Whatever she builds will be fantastic. I think this is great. There's a term that I use and some investors use, where we say things are lifestyle businesses, where I think this is a great lifestyle business where it isn't necessarily going to be the next unicorn, but it could potentially, keep her fed and be a full-time job for her. And I think help a lot of people get access to the gear they want, but not necessarily, going to raise $100 million and exit at $5 billion.
Ooh, I think you just gave Patricia the fire she needs. Anybody who like calls somebody's company a lifestyle business is like.
I don't think it's an insult. Some people feel like it's an insult. Not. There's a place for every company. Well, not every company. There's a place for great companies. It's just not all of them, I think, are designed to be, a unicorn. And I think that's okay. That's totally fine.
Yeah.
No, I'm going to cut you off, Brian. Sorry. I mean, you can see the difference between the founders we listened to tonight, right? The team at Brand XR has done this a few times, right? And they understand the process it takes to get from start to finish. Patricia is relatively new. This is her first venture. She's just learning how to build. She had that build down to the dollar. And is still trying to navigate like both sides of the marketplace. You are absolutely right. This is a person to follow. It's just like we talked about, listening and looking at the team with the, what was that thing? With the plunger into the brain and what was it called? Yes. Following the people that work in that lab and seeing how things go over time. Like you're absolutely right about Patricia. I think that this could be something. It just depends on if she sticks with it. And she may end up wanting to go, thanks, Jeff, agreeing with Lexi. She may end up building a great company. It could become something, but more likely than not, she just has a steep road to climb.
Yeah, I like the idea that she's learning concepts that I learned when I was 32 at, let's say, I don't know, 20 or 19 or 20, 21, whatever age she is, right? Like, amazing. Absolutely amazing. I don't think people understand fully how investors invest and then what we've got to pay back to our investors, right? And because of that, how investors like us can or can't invest in certain ideas. And I think we all have talked about the fact that people are so excited about those, TechCrunch, so-and-so raised so much money for venture capitalists announcements. Like that's like the end. That's the beginning of a process, not the end of a process. And that also, I've always told people in talks, like when you take venture capital, you're stepping on a treadmill that you can not get off until you either die or are successful. That's it. Like that's the force that you're you're dealing with, right? Before you take that money, you have every control. If you just want to go out and make $1 million a year for the rest of your life, that is absolutely amazing, and we need more of that in society. You may not get someone to invest in that, but if you can do that without getting an investment, you've won. And quite frankly, you're a superior entrepreneur than some of these people that needed $1 billion to make a business that doesn't even make money, right? There's a lot of companies that have had $1 billion of venture capital that are not profitable, right?
Okay, but let me throw this in. If Patricia was a 21-year-old white male building a tech company in San Francisco, would we have a different opinion, right? Are we looking at Patricia as a Latina who's young, living in Florida, doing it for the first time? Like, I hope we don't have bias on this committee against Patricia building something big, because she could be building something big. Throwing it out there.
Okay, me?
I'm just throwing it out there. No, I wasn't saying you. I said the committee.
Speak Spanish.
I think as the resident youth of the team, I definitely don't have that bias. We know that double-sided marketplaces are hard. They're very, very tough. And I think if we were having this same conversation, Patricia said she had generated, $150,000 in revenue in her first year, I think the conversation might go a little differently, right? I think it's more so not her youth, but the company's youth. She's, really just getting started in terms of her actually selling pieces. Selling 150 pieces is great, fantastic. But in terms of giving me the confidence to write a check, I need to see more traction. I'm very traction heavy. I need to see more of that. I need to see like a really nice traction to feel more comfortable about that.
What would you want to know? What do you think you would want to know? Do you want to know a little bit more, like the audience asked, like, where's the gear coming from, right? Are you starting in certain markets? Are you going to focus just on certain schools? Like, what do you want to know? What would you have liked to have seen in the company?
I would have liked to have seen maybe just a stronger indication of month over month or quarter over quarter growth in terms of revenue, users on the platform, buyers on the platform, and sellers on the platform. In addition, I think I'd just like to see a better segmentation of her different consumers and how she will attack those groups specifically, and has in the past attacked those groups specifically, because it seems like they all have different desires and expectations. And I didn't get as great of a explanation on how she individually sees those groups. Kind of like how Moody and Kunal attack the enterprise versus the other segment very differently, and understand that. I think that's what I was looking for too. But she's great. I mean, she'll do great things as she figures out the startup.
I think it's something I may have learned from Lexi, but when you're looking at e-com companies, it's very straightforward. Like, what are the sales? What are the revenue? How many hits to the website? What's your funnel metrics? Like, it's very math, right? And so when you're past a certain threshold in an e-commerce company, you got it, you don't. I feel like it's very almost binary. And so going back to your example, if you're kind of the younger white male founder, with traction or without, that's going to guide you. Now, would that white male founder in San Francisco raise 10 million versus 2? Then there's some bias there too, right? Like, same exact traction, they're raising 10 on 40, right? She's raising 2 on 8, whatever, different. Now, the other thing I see in kind of like the young Zuckerberg-ish kind of founder is where revenue isn't available to make a decision, right? And so you can say, I built this app, I built this thing, I built this whatever, and it's got user traction, right? Or it's a particularly complicated space, some kind of AI or whatever, and then you can kind of sell the dream, and you get the biased investor to believe that you are Zuckerberg because you look like Zuckerberg and because you sound like Zuckerberg and you wear a certain hoodie, and then they biasedly write you a check. But I think in our case, we tend to ask deeper questions, look at markets, because we're not I believe we have the opposite bias in those areas. In fact, also when we get to the backstage, I can't wait to talk about this guy, this VC that is kicking people out. Yeah.
That's like politics, so we don't talk politics.
Politics. The guy's a bum.
No, bro.
You can see my Twitter then. I love that.
Yeah, well, they'll have to follow you on Twitter.
Check my
Brian
Twitter
Brackeen.
feelings about that bum.
Yeah.
So
But one thing I will say is the other reason why we get super excited about founders like Patricia is, and Brian is wearing great swag for this episode, is even though we may not invest in a company at the time, we have other great programs where we can work with these founders who are maybe not ready for an investment, or just the timing may not be right, and we can work with them in a lot of different ways. And Numi is a really great way that we can do that.
yeah, go to numi.in. That's how we help those companies. Watch that space. Watch our Twitter for more online announcements as well, for like online educations and things like that are coming. Also, we've got a job rec out for some people to join our team. Look at my Twitter and some places like that to find. If you can share that on your socials, we definitely want to continue to grow the team here so we can bring you better content and do a better job for our companies. So with that, if you would invest in College Thrift, again, use that link. Let us know. We want to hear from you. We want to hear you through your clicks and through your mouse clicks. And I think, ladies, 9:05 feels like a good stopping point.
It really does. You want to go backstage?
All right. So we will still continue to talk a little trash here backstage, but this part of the formal show is over. Stay with us. Listen. We like to talk to you in the comments, and we'll go from there. Thank you guys so much for watching Twitch Pitch. Lexi, this is actually your part. Sorry.
No, it's not. But thank you everyone for tuning into Twitch Pitch once again. This was our last episode of the first round. So stay tuned this Sunday at 10 a.m. Eastern. We're going to have a very special episode. We're going to recap all of the companies you've seen thus far. And then we will announce who makes it to the final six, or I guess semifinal six. And we'll see you all on Sunday morning. Bye.
Also, every winner in the next round wins cash. Every single winner of the next round wins cash. So
Money.
super exciting. Lexi, your theater thing is dope. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Okay, so on the same thread of college things, can we just give a quick shout out to the Black excellence that's happening in college right now? And I wrote notes because it made me very happy. Let's talk about happy things because politics is really sad.
I'll take that.
MIT elected their very first Black female student body president. Her name is Danielle Gathers. Shout out to Danielle Gathers. I think it's really exciting. MIT is a very difficult campus for people of color sometimes. Cambridge in general can be very difficult. So big shout out to her and everything that she's doing on that campus. And Jamila Mustafa is the youngest commencement speaker ever at Bennett College. She's 27 and she's killing it. She's a host on some stuff on MTV. So just little things in collegiate Black excellence.
What a culture.
A bigger college thrifts, some college news, positivity.
College just made me feel good. Just made me feel good, like to see people like Lexi set it up perfectly. Like to see young entrepreneurship is just heartening, And to Candice's point, she's gonna be great. Like her next thing. This is fine, but her next thing's gonna be even kind of bigger, and it'll be like this for her. Like, oh yeah, like design thinking. Yeah, we'll run a sprint and we'll do. You know what I mean? Like it's just second nature. So impressive, bro.
I heard somebody echo, so I stopped talking for a second. I love it that we've made it this far, and we finally got our first troll sending spam.
Our first bot, maybe.
Yeah. Want to become famous? Buy followers, primes, and viewers on adviewers.com.
That's when you know you made it.
Making it out here in these streets.
When the bot shows up, that's when you know you made it.
Yes.
Well, adviewers.com, if you would like to become an official sponsor of the show.
With cash.
Yeah, send us an email and we'll send over an invoice.
You cannot pay with viewers. No, you've got to pay with actual dollars.
So Jeff has a question. And we always call Jeff JB Brath, but it's actually J, last name Brathwaite. I don't know. Follow you on the Twitters. But Jeff has a question. Talk more about Numi.
Sure. I'm wearing the shirt, so I'll go ahead. Numi, so if you go to numi.in is the URL, was going back historically, it was the first accelerator for women and minorities in the country, in America. Started by a woman named Angela Benton in San Francisco in 2011.
11 or 12, something like that.
Yep, I think 11 or 12. It was the focus of CNN's Black in America, was Soledad O'Brien that year. They followed him around for months and did a whole hour-long show about it. And it was quite successful. Candice, depending on what side you're on, Candice, you acquired New Me in 2000 what?
December 2018.
December 2018. Enrolled it into our accelerator brands, our nonprofit accelerator brand called Hillman. New Me is a 1-week boot camp where we help entrepreneurs that have, Angela. Entrepreneurs that have a company in market selling. It's kind of like how do I take it from already going 100 to going to 200 miles an hour, right? And what kind of advanced techniques can we teach you in a week, living in a house all together like the real world, to get your business going super, super fast growth? And so that's what it is. We run that. In the age of COVID, we do a lot of things online, but starting back in 2021, we will be back at it in person in cities around the country, but principally they're held in Cincinnati, Ohio, and some in the wintertime in Miami, Florida, because Miami.
Because Brian can't handle the cold.
No, I will not teach in the cold. Period.
Yeah. And that program is paid for by the Cerna Foundation in New York. The Andrus family is the founders of the Cerna Foundation. They give to social justice issues throughout the country, and they believe that having equitable economies is a social justice issue. So they sponsor the entire cost of the week for folks going through the New Me program. And so they sponsor up to 100 folks for a $2,600 program every single year. And they've done that and will continue to do that for the next 2 years at minimum.
Yeah.
Plug to the Cerna Foundation.
Plug to the Cerna Foundation. We love you. Thank you so much. And Jeff, yes, we are them. We are they that bought New Me. I'm very proud. It's a good brand, good. Sometimes in this space, you don't see people exiting to each other, and you rarely ever see Black women exiting to other Black women. So it was a really kind of impactful time. And I think we got some pictures we've posted. I think we did a blog post or something like that.
Yeah, it was kind of one of the coolest moments of my life. So this is a small network of kind of minority investors and founders. And Monique Mosley Idlet had a brunch at her house. She is a VC from Rain Ventures. She's also, I think, the executive producer of Empire. Is that right? I don't know. I just know her as a friend. So she hosted a brunch at her house, and at that brunch, Angela and I signed the acquisition docs together. So it was really cool to have like a Black woman exiting to another Black woman, a Black woman buying a company from another Black woman. It was just a really, really cool moment. So, and now it still lives and breathes.
Yeah, maybe we will in the pre-show on Sunday, or the post-show. We will find some of those pics and share them. So, Jeff, you want to see the pics? You got to come back Sunday. Put us in your calendar. You're on mute, but it looks amazing.
It did look amazing. All I was saying is these are also replayed on YouTube.
That's right. See us there as well.
All right. Well, guess what? We're here an hour later. And if I'm hungry at 8:15, I'm definitely hungry at 9:15. Those snacks only get me so far.
Gracias, amores. Besos.